The highlands of Ethiopia rise like a craggy backbone, twisting through the center of the country, at an elevation that ranges from 1.500 to 4.000 meters. The region is home to some of the most breathtaking landscapes on Earth. The rugged terrain, dotted with isolated villages and ancient monasteries, is a world apart from the bustling, urbanized plains. Here, nestled among the highlands, live the Amhara people, a group whose culture, traditions, and way of life stretch back thousands of years. In the small villages scattered across the mountains, life is a delicate balance between past and present. The Amhara people are one of Ethiopia's largest ethnic groups, and their identity is deeply intertwined with the country's history. Ethiopia, with its rich tapestry of cultures and religions, has long been shaped by the Amhara's contributions to politics, religion, and culture. Their history is written in the language of emperors, in the centuries-old Christian Orthodox churches, and in the very soil they till and harvest. But it is in the quiet daily rhythms of life that one truly understands the essence of the Amhara people. The Amhara are a proud people, and their culture is woven into the fabric of everyday life. From the hum of early morning prayers to the rhythm of farming, from the vibrant colors of woven garments to the intricate dances performed during festivals, the Amhara have cultivated a rich, enduring culture that has survived through centuries of change. Their customs, from the smallest of daily rituals to grand religious celebrations, reflect a deep reverence for family, faith, and the land. Family is the heart of Amhara society. In the villages, homes are built with stone and thatch, often grouped together in tight-knit clusters. The family unit is the central pillar of the community, with elders respected for their wisdom and knowledge, while younger members are expected to care for their parents and uphold the traditions of their forebears. Children grow up learning the ways of the land, learning to cultivate the fields, tend to livestock, and participate in the customs of their people. From a young age, they are taught the importance of respect for their elders, for their community, and for their culture. Religion, too, plays a central role in shaping the Amhara worldview. Nearly all Amhara follow the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, a branch of Christianity that is as ancient as the kingdom itself. The daily rituals of prayer, fasting, and celebration form the backbone of spiritual life, while grand religious festivals like Timkat, Epiphany, and Fasika, Easter, bring the entire community together in a shared expression of faith. The sound of chanting in the church, the flicker of candles in the twilight, and the sacred incense that fills the air are all part of a religious experience that is both intimate and communal. The Amhara are also deeply connected to the land they inhabit. Farming is not simply a means of survival, it is a way of life. In the highlands, where the soil is rich and the climate temperate, the Amhara grow a variety of crops, the most important of which is teff, a small grain that is the cornerstone of their diet. This grain is used to make injera, the spongy, sour flatbread that is the staple of Ethiopian cuisine. Wheat, barley, and corn are also grown in abundance, and the Amhara take pride in their farming practices, passed down through generations. Animal husbandry is equally important. Cattle, sheep, and goats are not only a source of food and wealth, but they are also integral to the Amhara way of life. Cattle, in particular, are considered a symbol of prosperity and status, and their ownership is a mark of distinction within the community. For many Amhara, owning livestock is a sign of social standing, and herding animals is a skill that is passed from father to son. The tradition of farming and animal husbandry is not limited to survival, but is deeply connected to the Amhara's spirituality and worldview. The land is seen as sacred, and the harvest is considered a gift from God. Farmers believe that the bounty they reap is directly tied to their devotion and hard work. A successful harvest is cause for celebration, while a failed one is a time for reflection and prayer. But the Amhara are not only defined by their farming and religious practices. The rich tapestry of Amhara culture is woven through its music, dance, and art. The sounds of the krar, a traditional Ethiopian lyre, and the masinko, a single-stringed violin, fill the air during weddings and religious ceremonies. These instruments are played with a skill that has been honed over centuries, passed down from generation to generation. The melodies are haunting and beautiful, capturing the soul of the Amhara people in every note. In the evenings, the rhythm of traditional dances can be heard as villagers come together to celebrate the harvest or mark a special occasion. The dances are a vital part of community life, a physical expression of joy, unity, and cultural pride. One of the most striking aspects of Amhara culture is its unique form of storytelling. The oral tradition is deeply ingrained in their identity, with elders passing down histories, legends, and teachings through words alone. These stories are not merely entertainment. They are moral lessons, teachings about the past, and instructions for living a righteous life. The Amhara believe that stories have the power to shape reality, and thus, storytelling is not just a cultural pastime, it is a form of sacred transmission. Yet, as the world around them changes, so too does the life of the Amhara. The younger generation, especially those living in urban areas like Bahir Dar and Addis Ababa, are beginning to forge their own path, blending tradition with modernity. While many still hold strong to the values of their ancestors, they are increasingly faced with the pressures of globalization and urbanization. The rural way of life, with its deep connections to the land and community, is slowly being replaced by the pace and demands of city life. In these cities, young Amhara are finding new ways to preserve their culture while embracing the opportunities that modern life offers. The elders, however, continue to remind the younger generation of the importance of maintaining the traditions that have sustained their people for centuries. They teach their children to honor the past while looking toward the future. And even in the bustling cities, the rhythms of Amhara life can still be felt, whether in the rich flavor of an injera meal, the sound of an old song being sung in the streets, or the quiet prayers whispered before dawn. In the highlands, where the sun rises over the ancient land, the Amhara people continue their enduring dance with the past, weaving a culture that is as timeless as the mountains themselves. Their life is a reflection of a deep connection to the land, to each other, and to a faith that has stood the test of time. It is a way of life that, despite the forces of change, will always find a place in the heart of Ethiopia. Nestled in the heart of Ethiopia's highlands, the Amhara people's economic life is intricately tied to the land. In the fertile valleys and terraced hills, where the soil is rich and the climate temperate, the economy of the Amhara region revolves around agriculture, livestock, and traditional craftsmanship. But these economic activities are not just ways of survival, they are part of a broader cultural identity. Deeply ingrained in the daily rhythms of life, the Amhara people have long been farmers. For centuries, their success and survival have been tied to the seasons and the crops they cultivate. The agricultural calendar governs much of the Amhara way of life, dictating not only what crops to plant but also the timing of festivals, the rhythm of community life, and the cycles of celebration and reflection. The land, to the Amhara, is not merely a means of sustenance. It is a living entity, a partner in their survival, and an integral part of their spiritual worldview. In the highlands, the most important crop is teff, a small, grain-like plant that has sustained the Ethiopian people for millennia. Teff is ground into flour and used to make injera, the beloved sour flatbread that forms the foundation of the Amhara diet. Injera is not just food. It is a symbol of community and tradition. It is shared during family meals, religious ceremonies, and festivals, and it is passed down through generations as a cultural heritage. Growing teff requires knowledge of the land's rhythms, how to time the planting and harvesting, how to protect the crop from pests, and how to manage the soil to ensure a bountiful yield. The Amhara are masters of this agricultural art, with techniques refined over centuries of experience. Alongside teff, the Amhara also grow a variety of other crops. Wheat, barley, and corn are staples in the diet, and their cultivation sustains both rural and urban populations. These grains are used to make traditional dishes such as doro wat, spicy chicken stew, kitfo, minced beef, and a variety of vegetable stews. The work in the fields is labor-intensive, often requiring whole families to contribute. From the youngest child gathering firewood to the eldest members overseeing the planting and harvesting. It is a communal effort, a shared responsibility that reinforces the Amhara value of cooperation and unity. However, the agricultural life is not without its challenges. The highlands can be unforgiving, with harsh dry seasons followed by heavy rains that sometimes lead to flooding and landslides. Farmers must work hard to mitigate these risks, using traditional methods such as terracing to control soil erosion and protect crops. Modern-day climate change has further complicated matters, with erratic weather patterns making it more difficult for farmers to predict harvests. Despite these challenges, the Amhara have remained resilient, adapting their techniques and drawing upon the wisdom of their ancestors to cope with the unpredictable rhythms of nature. While farming remains the backbone of the Amhara economy, livestock is equally important. In Amhara culture, animals, particularly cattle, are not only a source of food and wealth, but also serve as a symbol of status and prosperity. The larger a person's herd, the more influential they are within their community. Cattle are used for milk, meat, and hides, but they are also integral to social life. For example, cattle are often given as dowries in marriage negotiations, reinforcing their role as symbols of wealth and social standing. In rural Amhara communities, owning a large herd of cattle is seen as a mark of respectability, and it is not uncommon for a young man to spend years working to amass his own herd before seeking a bride. The Amhara's deep connection to livestock extends beyond economics. It is a spiritual relationship. Herding is a respected skill, passed down through generations of men and boys. Shepherds can often be seen tending their flocks in the lush highland pastures, watching over their animals with a mixture of pride and reverence. This bond is not only a way of life but also a source of identity. The livestock are part of the family, cared for like children, and in times of crisis, they can be traded or sold to provide for the needs of the community. In addition to agriculture and livestock, trade plays a crucial role in the economic life of the Amhara people. For centuries, Ethiopian traders have been part of extensive trade networks that stretch across the Horn of Africa and beyond. In towns like Bahir Dar, Gondar, and Dibra Marcos, bustling markets are the lifeblood of the community, where farmers, artisans, and traders come together to exchange goods. The market is a place of negotiation, where the prices of grains, livestock, spices, and textiles are set. It is also a place of socialization, where people from all walks of life come together to share news, gossip, and stories, reinforcing the importance of community. Amhara traders often sell not only their agricultural produce but also handcrafted goods such as woven textiles, wooden carvings, and metalwork. The Amhara are known for their skill in weaving intricate patterns into colorful habesha chemis, traditional dresses, and netelas, shawls, which are worn by men and women alike. These garments are more than just clothing. They are symbols of cultural identity, worn during religious ceremonies, weddings, and other important occasions. The artistry of Amhara weaving is passed down through families, and the patterns have symbolic meaning, reflecting the stories and history of the people. The economy of the Amhara is not confined to traditional rural pursuits. In the cities, especially in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, the younger generation is increasingly engaged in trade, commerce, and government jobs. Urbanization is reshaping the economic landscape, with many young Amhara leaving the villages to seek better opportunities in the cities. They work in a wide range of industries, from agriculture and construction to education, healthcare, and technology. However, even as the younger generation embraces the opportunities of the modern world, many continue to maintain strong ties to their roots, sending remittances back to their families in rural areas and returning home during holidays to partake in traditional festivals and family rituals. The role of women in the Amhara economy has also evolved. Traditionally, women were responsible for household duties such as cooking, weaving, and caring for children, while men tended to the fields and livestock. However, over the past few decades, women in Amhara society have become more involved in economic activities outside the home. Many women are now engaged in small-scale businesses, selling produce or handmade crafts in the markets, while others work as teachers, nurses, and professionals. Despite these changes, the gender roles within the Amhara community remain strong, with men still holding primary responsibility for the more visible economic and political leadership roles. Despite the economic successes of the Amhara people, they face significant challenges. Rural poverty remains a persistent issue, with many families struggling to make ends meet. Access to education and healthcare in rural areas is limited, and many young people are leaving the countryside for the promise of a better life in the cities. There are also tensions between traditional ways of life and the pressures of modernization, as many young Amhara strive to balance their heritage with the opportunities available to them in an increasingly globalized world. Government policies and international aid have played an important role in addressing some of these challenges. Efforts to improve infrastructure, provide education, and address issues such as food security have made a tangible difference in the lives of many Amhara. However, these efforts are not without their difficulties, as the region struggles to balance economic growth with the preservation of cultural traditions. The economic life of the Amhara is thus one of resilience, adaptability, and deep cultural pride. In the face of modern challenges, they continue to draw strength from their connection to the land, their livestock, and their centuries-old traditions. As Ethiopia moves into the 21st century, the Amhara people remain steadfast in their commitment to preserving their heritage while embracing the opportunities of the future. Their economy, grounded in agriculture, livestock, and trade, is a testament to their enduring relationship with the land, their community, and their history. The highlands of Ethiopia, where the Amhara people have lived for centuries, are a land of rugged beauty, where the sharp ridges of mountain peaks meet lush valleys and dense forests. This is a land that has shaped the Amhara's way of life, a land that offers both bounty and danger, and a land where survival is as much about balance with nature as it is about hard work. For the Amhara, hunting and gathering are not just necessary means of subsistence. They are deeply rooted in tradition, spirituality, and survival instincts honed over generations. While agriculture and livestock are the primary sources of livelihood, the practice of hunting and foraging remains an essential part of the Amhara way of life, especially in the more remote regions of the highlands. Historically, hunting was seen as an activity tied to strength, skill, and bravery. It was an essential part of survival, particularly in times when crops failed or when herding was difficult. For the Amhara, the land and the animals that inhabit it are respected and revered, and hunting, though often seen as a necessity, is always treated with reverence. The Amhara traditionally hunt wild animals such as antelopes, wild boar, baboons, and gazelles. The highlands, with their dense forests, cliffs, and grassy plains, are home to a diverse range of wildlife. In the early mornings and late afternoons, when the animals are most active, skilled hunters venture out into the wilderness with their bows and arrows, spears, or traps. Hunting is a solitary or small group activity, where the hunter relies on patience, skill, and knowledge of the land. In many villages, hunting is seen as a rite of passage, particularly for young men. It is a test of endurance and resilience, where the journey itself is as significant as the hunt. The tools used in Amhara hunting are crafted with great care and precision. Traditionally, hunters use bows and arrows made from locally sourced wood, while spears are often tipped with iron or sharpened stone. Traps, constructed with vines and natural materials, are used to ensnare smaller game. These tools are passed down from father to son, and the knowledge of how to make and use them is an important part of a young man's education. Hunting is a skill that takes years to master, and it is not only about capturing food, it is about understanding the rhythms of nature, the behavior of animals, and the sacredness of the land. The significance of hunting goes beyond the mere gathering of food. For the Amhara, hunting is intimately tied to their spiritual beliefs and the understanding that they are part of a larger natural world. The act of hunting is often accompanied by rituals, prayers, and offerings to appease the spirits of the animals and the land. The Amhara believe that all creatures have souls, and that the hunter must honor the life that is taken. Before embarking on a hunt, some hunters offer prayers to the spirits of the forest, asking for a successful hunt and for protection from harm. After a successful hunt, the meat is often shared with the community, particularly with the elders, as a mark of respect and gratitude. Foraging for wild plants, fruits, and herbs is another important aspect of survival in the Amhara highlands. In addition to cultivated crops, the Amhara rely on the bounty of the natural world to supplement their diet. The forests and hills are teeming with edible plants, medicinal herbs, and fruits that are carefully gathered by skilled foragers. These plants are not only used for food, but also for their healing properties. The Amhara have an intimate knowledge of the plants that grow in their region, knowledge that has been passed down through generations. Wild herbs like morina and sage are used in cooking, while others are collected for their medicinal properties, helping to treat common ailments such as fevers, coughs, and digestive problems. The Amhara's relationship with the land is not one of domination, but of respect and coexistence. They do not take from the earth indiscriminately. Instead, they live by the belief that they are custodians of the land and its resources. They understand the balance between giving and taking, and they are mindful of the need to preserve the natural world for future generations. This respect for nature extends to hunting practices, where certain animals are left unharmed to allow their populations to regenerate. The Amhara understand that their survival is inextricably linked to the health of the land, and they have developed systems of conservation that are rooted in tradition. The practice of hunting and gathering is also central to the social and cultural life of the Amhara. Hunting parties are often social occasions, where men gather to share stories, bond over their shared skills, and reaffirm their ties to the land. It is not uncommon for the success or failure of a hunt to be the topic of conversation around the evening fire. These communal gatherings are an important part of Amhara society, as they foster unity and strengthen social bonds. The meat from a successful hunt is often shared with the community, especially with the elderly or those in need, reinforcing the values of generosity and communal support. In some rural areas, hunting and foraging are still seen as essential to family life. Families often maintain close ties with the natural environment, working together to gather wild food, hunt, and preserve the harvest. The practice of foraging, which includes gathering mushrooms, berries, and edible leaves, also strengthens the connection between the younger generation and the elders, who are often the ones to teach them the skills needed to identify useful plants and herbs. For the Amhara, this knowledge is seen as sacred, a vital link between the past and the present. However, as the Amhara region experiences the effects of modernization, urbanization, and environmental change, hunting and foraging have become less central to daily life for many in the younger generation. The pressures of a growing population and expanding cities mean that more people are moving away from rural life, seeking opportunities in urban areas where farming and livestock keeping remain the primary economic activities. For some, the pursuit of hunting and foraging has become a seasonal or ceremonial activity rather than an everyday necessity. In urban centers like Bahir Dar or Addis Ababa, where modern conveniences and imported foods are readily available, the reliance on traditional hunting and gathering practices has diminished. Yet, in many rural villages, these practices endure, The Amhara continue to rely on the natural resources around them to survive, and hunting and foraging remain vital parts of their cultural identity. They continue to pass down the knowledge of the land to younger generations, ensuring that these traditions are not lost. For the Amhara, survival is about more than just securing food. It is about maintaining a harmonious relationship with the land, preserving their cultural heritage, and honoring the spirits of the forest, the animals, and the ancestors who have walked these lands before them. As Ethiopia faces challenges such as climate change, deforestation, and loss of biodiversity, the future of traditional hunting and gathering practices among the Amhara is uncertain. Yet, the land remains resilient, and so do the people who depend on it. The Amhara have survived countless hardships, from invasions to famine to political upheaval, and they continue to thrive by adapting while holding fast to the values that have sustained them for centuries. In the forests, the hills, and the valleys, the Amhara's deep connection to the land remains unbroken, a testament to their resilience, wisdom, and reverence for the natural world. The Amhara people's society is one of deeply rooted traditions and cultural values, where community bonds, respect for elders, and adherence to established roles define daily life. Their social structure is largely influenced by a complex interplay of family relationships, religious hierarchy, and age-old customs, all of which work together to ensure the stability and continuity of their way of life. Understanding the intricate web of social relationships and traditions within Amhara society provides valuable insight into their collective identity and their approach to navigating the challenges of the modern world. At the core of Amhara social structure is the family, which serves as the fundamental unit of society. The family is not just an economic unit but a social one, and family ties are incredibly strong. A typical Amhara household is often multi-generational, with extended families living together or in close proximity. This arrangement fosters a sense of solidarity and mutual responsibility, with everyone in the household contributing to the well-being of the family. Elders, in particular, hold a respected position within the family structure. Their wisdom is considered invaluable, and their guidance is sought on everything from matters of farming to religious practices to conflict resolution. The father is typically the head of the household, responsible for making decisions regarding the family's economic activities, including farming, livestock keeping, and trade. However, the mother plays an equally vital role, particularly in managing the home and raising children. Amhara women are known for their resilience and resourcefulness, and in many households, they not only care for the children but also contribute to economic activities by participating in farming, trade, and craftwork. The roles of men and women, though distinct, complement one another, with both contributing to the overall success and stability of the household. Within the family, a strong sense of hierarchy exists, especially regarding the role of the elderly. Elders are revered, not only for their age but for their accumulated wisdom. In the Amhara tradition, the advice of elders is considered sacred, and it is often sought before any major decisions are made. Whether it be about farming, marriage, or disputes, respect for one's elders is ingrained in every aspect of Amhara culture, and young people are taught from an early age to defer to those older than them, honoring their opinions and experiences. In rural Amhara communities, the family's role extends beyond the home to the broader community. The village is seen as an extended family, with neighbors looking out for one another, sharing in each other's joys and sorrows, and working together to solve communal problems. This deep sense of communal responsibility is particularly evident during times of crisis, such as crop failure, illness, or the loss of a loved one. During these times, the community rallies around the affected family, providing support through material help, labor, and emotional solace. Marriage is one of the most important social institutions in Amhara society, marking a significant transition in an individual's life. Marriage is seen not just as the union of two people but as the joining of two families. It is a communal event, with both sides of the family playing active roles in the negotiations, preparation, and celebration. Traditionally, marriage arrangements are often made with the assistance of family members, and the process may include a dowry, typically in the form of livestock, money, or other valuables. The dowry system is an important part of Amhara marriage customs, symbolizing the commitment of the groom to care for the bride and her family, as well as the social standing of the families involved. The Amhara have a rich tradition of wedding ceremonies, which are major social events, lasting for days and involving elaborate celebrations. The ceremony typically begins with a formal engagement, followed by a series of religious rituals, including prayers, blessings, and the sharing of traditional foods. Traditional music and dance are an integral part of the celebrations, with friends and family coming together to celebrate the union. Injera and what stew, along with other local delicacies, are shared as a communal meal, symbolizing unity and prosperity. In terms of child rearing, the Amhara place a high value on education, discipline, and respect. From a young age, children are taught the importance of hard work, respect for elders, and religious observance. The first years of a child's life are typically spent under the care of the mother and older female relatives, who teach them household chores, weaving, and cooking. Boys, on the other hand, spend more time with their fathers and male relatives, learning how to tend to livestock, farm, and hunt. The role of the church in shaping Amhara society cannot be overstated. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is not just a place of worship. It is the heart of the Amhara community. The church's teachings and rituals play a central role in the daily lives of the Amhara people, and its influence extends far beyond the walls of the church itself. Church leaders, such as priests and deacons, are highly respected figures in Amhara society, and their words are considered divinely inspired. Church events, such as religious holidays, baptisms, weddings, and funerals, form the backbone of community life. These events are not only religious but social occasions that bring people together and reinforce communal ties. The Amhara are known for their piety, with religious observance being a cornerstone of daily life. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church follows a unique calendar of religious festivals, which includes Timkat, Epiphany, Fasika, Easter, and Meskel, the finding of the true cross. These festivals are occasions for deep spiritual reflection, communal feasting, and elaborate ceremonies. During these times, the Amhara people come together to celebrate their faith, their shared identity, and their collective history. The rituals surrounding these festivals are elaborate, involving prayers, processions, chanting, and offerings. For many Amhara, these festivals serve not only as expressions of religious devotion but as opportunities to reconnect with family, friends, and community. In addition to the church's influence, the Amhara have a rich tradition of storytelling, which serves as both entertainment and education. Elders pass down stories, myths, and legends to younger generations, teaching them lessons about morality, respect, and the history of their people. These stories are often told around the fire or during communal gatherings, with the elder acting as both storyteller and teacher. The art of storytelling is considered a vital aspect of Amhara culture, preserving the history of the people and ensuring that important lessons are never forgotten. The Amhara are also known for their music and dance, which are integral parts of social and religious events. Traditional instruments such as the krar, lyre, and masinko, a single-stringed violin, are used to accompany songs and dances that celebrate key moments in life. Dance is a vital form of expression in Amhara culture, with both men and women participating in group dances that celebrate the harvest, weddings, and religious festivals. The rhythm of the music and the movement of the dancers serve as a physical expression of the joy and unity that define the Amhara people. Yet, as with many other ethnic groups around the world, the Amhara are facing the pressures of modernity. Urbanization, globalization, and the influence of mass media are slowly reshaping traditional family structures and social norms. The younger generation, particularly those living in the cities, is often caught between the pull of traditional values and the lure of modern, westernized lifestyles. Many young Amhara seek education and employment opportunities in the cities, where they have access to more diverse job markets, entertainment, and technology. This shift toward urbanization has led to changes in family life, with fewer young people remaining in rural areas to carry on the traditional ways of life. Despite these changes, many Amhara people remain deeply committed to their traditions, finding ways to adapt while still preserving their cultural heritage. The older generation continues to play an important role in transmitting cultural knowledge to the younger generation, ensuring that the values of respect, hard work, and community continue to thrive. The Amhara's ability to balance tradition with modernity is a testament to their resilience, and their social structures rooted in family, religion, and communal bonds remain a vital part of their identity. In the end, the social life of the Amhara is one of interconnectedness and deep respect for both the living and the ancestral past. Through family, community, religion, and culture, the Amhara people continue to navigate the challenges of the modern world while maintaining the traditions that have sustained them for centuries. Their society, with its age-old practices, social cohesion, and reverence for elders, is a model of resilience and continuity in a rapidly changing world. As the 21st century unfolds, the Amhara people, like many other indigenous communities around the world, stand at a crossroads. The pressures of globalization, urbanization, environmental change, and political dynamics are reshaping their way of life. And the future of the Amhara people hinges on their ability to adapt while preserving the core values, traditions, and cultural identity that have defined them for centuries. The changing landscape of Ethiopia itself is both an opportunity and a challenge for the Amhara. Urban centers like Addis Ababa, Bahir Dar, and Gondar are growing rapidly, drawing young people away from rural villages in search of better educational and employment opportunities. The younger generation, often exposed to new ideas and technologies through the internet and mass media, is navigating the tension between maintaining their heritage and embracing modern ways of life. While many young Amhara are eager to pursue careers in technology, medicine, education, and other professional fields, they still carry with them a strong sense of pride in their roots. For many Amhara, the transition to urban life is not an easy one. Rural areas, where traditional farming and livestock keeping continue to be the primary means of livelihood, are facing challenges such as land degradation, soil erosion, and changing weather patterns, all of which threaten food security. This has led many families to reconsider their agricultural practices and explore new sources of income, including participation in trade, construction, and service industries. Some young Amhara, who once saw farming as the sole path to livelihood, are now turning to entrepreneurship, leveraging skills in crafts, carpentry, and even the digital economy. This shift is reshaping the economic fabric of the Amhara community. However, despite the growth of cities and the diversification of their economy, many Amhara people remain deeply connected to their rural roots. The practice of subsistence farming continues to be a significant part of their identity, while modern agricultural practices, such as the use of machinery and chemical fertilizers, are becoming more widespread. Traditional methods of farming, including terracing and crop rotation, are still valued for their sustainability. In many areas, agricultural cooperatives and rural development programs are helping farmers increase their yields while also preserving the environment. As globalization spreads its influence across Ethiopia, the Amhara are also facing the challenge of cultural preservation. Modern life is bringing about changes in language, dress, food, and social norms. Yet, for many Amhara, these changes are not necessarily seen as a threat but rather as a sign of progress that can coexist with the preservation of tradition. the Amharic language, which serves as both a means of communication and a symbol of cultural identity, remains a powerful tool for fostering unity and transmitting knowledge across generations. Efforts are being made to ensure that the younger generation is fluent in Amharic, not only as a way to engage with the broader Ethiopian society, but also as a way to preserve the rich linguistic traditions of their ancestors. Traditional music and dance, as well as the art of storytelling, continue to thrive in rural areas, even as they slowly make their way into urban life. Festivals like Timkat, Fasika, and Meskel, which are deeply rooted in Amhara culture, remain central to the social and spiritual lives of the people. For the Amhara, these festivals are more than just religious observances. They are a reaffirmation of their connection to the land, their ancestors, and their faith. The public celebrations of these events often serve as a reminder of the community's shared history and collective identity. Education plays a critical role in the future of the Amhara people. With Ethiopia's national educational reforms, access to schooling has improved dramatically, and more Amhara children are attending school than ever before. In the cities, young Amhara are increasingly attending universities and technical schools, pursuing careers that were once inaccessible. However, for those in rural areas, access to education remains a challenge, with schools often underfunded, poorly equipped, and far from the homes of students. The disparity in educational access between urban and rural areas remains a source of tension and concern for many in the Amhara community. The rise in educational opportunities is empowering young people, especially women, to seek roles in society that were once out of reach. Women are becoming doctors, teachers, and business leaders, and their increasing participation in the workforce is changing the gender dynamics within Amhara society. Although patriarchal norms still play a dominant role in Amhara culture, younger generations are beginning to question traditional gender roles and seek greater equality. For example, many young women are now taking leadership positions in community organizations, NGOs, and government institutions. This shift marks a slow but steady transformation in the social fabric of the Amhara people. However, education is not just about career advancement. It is also about cultural transmission. Young people, especially those who move to the cities for education, are often seen as carriers of modern ideas and practices. It is crucial that they remain connected to their roots and preserve the cultural knowledge that has been passed down through generations. As such, the role of elders in educating the younger generation becomes more vital than ever. Elders are the keepers of oral history, stories, and spiritual traditions, and their role as cultural guides is essential in ensuring that the next generation remains grounded in Amhara values while navigating the demands of modernity. Religion, particularly the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, continues to play a central role in the life of the Amhara people. Despite the pressures of secularism and the spread of other faiths, the Church remains an anchor in the lives of many Amhara. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church has long been the bedrock of Amhara identity, influencing everything from daily rituals to major life events. For many Amhara, the Church is not just a place of worship, it is a space for community, solidarity, and social engagement. The practice of fasting, the observance of religious holidays, and the participation in church rituals are essential parts of the Amhara's spiritual and social lives. Yet, with the rise of religious pluralism in Ethiopia, some Amhara are also finding space for dialogue and cooperation with members of other faith communities, including Muslims and Protestants. This emerging interfaith dialogue is part of the broader trend of increasing national unity, where religious differences are seen as an opportunity for mutual understanding rather than a source of division. As Ethiopia continues to modernize, these religious exchanges could play a significant role in shaping the future of the Amhara people, enabling them to adapt their spiritual practices to a more diverse and interconnected world. As the Amhara people face the future, environmental challenges loom large. Deforestation, soil erosion, and the impacts of climate change are already affecting agriculture in the highlands. Erratic rainfall and droughts are threatening food security, and the younger generation is increasingly aware of the need to adapt to these new realities. Many Amhara farmers are now looking to more sustainable practices, such as agroforestry, water conservation, and the use of drought-resistant crops, to mitigate the effects of climate change. At the same time, the Amhara region, like much of Ethiopia, is experiencing economic growth. Infrastructure projects, such as new roads, schools, and hospitals, are transforming the landscape, and foreign investment in sectors like tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing is bringing new opportunities. However, these developments also bring challenges, including the risk of cultural displacement and loss of land as traditional farming areas are converted to commercial use. The challenge for the Amhara people, like for many indigenous groups, will be how to balance economic progress with the preservation of their traditions and the protection of their environment. The future of the Amhara people lies in their ability to find a delicate balance between preserving their cultural heritage and embracing the opportunities of the modern world. They are a people deeply connected to their history, their land, and their traditions, yet they are also open to the changes that come with globalization and modernization. This balance is not always easy to achieve, and the Amhara will need to navigate challenges related to urbanization, environmental sustainability, and cultural preservation. One thing is certain: the resilience of the Amhara people, built on centuries of tradition, social cohesion, and respect for the land, will serve them well as they move forward into an uncertain future. Whether in the highlands of Ethiopia or the bustling streets of Addis Ababa, the Amhara people will continue to shape their future in ways that honor their past, reflect their values, and adapt to the needs of the modern world. In the end, the Amhara story is not just one of survival. It is one of adaptation and transformation. The challenges they face are great, but their spirit, grounded in community, tradition, and resilience, is greater still. As they continue to evolve, the Amhara will no doubt remain a proud, dynamic people whose identity is rooted in both the past and the future.